Hello, everyone. This is Aurelia Davis, the educator's educator, coming to you on a Monday, first day of May, May 1st. So we finally got here. We finally got here. I hope everyone is out doing very well out there and in my on this media. And just came to talk to you a little bit. I wasn't able to do a lot last week. I had such a busy week, but I'm available again this week. And just wondering, as we get closer to teachers closing out the school year. You closing out the school year. I'm just coming to you, bringing you a few tips of how that the end of the school year can look and should look. You know, you want to be able to. It should not be a time of additional stress. I mean, the only stress that you might be, taking on at this particular time is the end of the year reports, getting student records together, folders together. And because I haven't been in the system for a long time, I don't even know what that looked like. I'm assuming that a lot of things are basically online, but that can even be very daunting at this particular time, for teachers. So you get to the point where you have to really, just sort of balance out the school year. Some schools are already out. Some schools are already out. They're coming into the middle of May. So a lot of schools throughout the country have already closed. I'm basically talking to schools within the around Illinois because I know they'll be coming out close to the end of May or the beginning of June. Let me turn my other light on. I want to be able to see you a little bit closer. Excuse me for a minute. Uh, there you go. That's a little better. That's a little better. You can see me and I can see you. But like I was saying, the end of the school year, I know CPS is going to be closing a lot earlier than they have been in the past, and they're going to be closing around the first part of June, I'm believing, the second week, no later than the second week of June. So I'm sure that a lot of CPS teachers have been given their task as to what they need to do, what they need to complete, and how you do it. But I wanted to come to you today for about one particular subject. Remember, I think a couple of weeks ago, I talked about exiting strategies for high school students, exiting strategies for high school seniors, getting ready to go off into college. And then I start thinking about it and what I used to do. I did have an exiting strategy for my elementary school students. I'll say that again. I did have an exiting strategy for my elementary school students. And I think throughout this whole year, you have been hearing me talk about those three groups of students or learners, three groups of learners that you do have in your classroom. You have that those let's just put it in the realm of third grade. You have that those third graders that basically have third grade skills in place, and they're pushing toward fourth grade skills, maybe even mid-year starting to look more like fourth graders as far as their academics are concerned, and that's a good thing. It does not necessarily mean that you leave these students alone. You want to continue to, throughout the year, you would have continued to give them more challenging things to do, more so that they will be even more prepared for fourth grade. And then you had that middle group, basically, that was having issues in like either reading or math. And so you had a tendency of working with them a little bit closer, giving them a little extra skills, building up certain skills that they were lacking in throughout the school year. And you hopefully they have gotten a little bit further than they were, the last couple of months. They're a little bit further, a little bit better. And through all of this, I'm sure that you as teachers, you'll be able to see the results of this through your test, through your standardized test that the students have taken within the last month or so. You'll be able to see this throughout, for as far as their results of their standardized test. And then, of course, you had that last group that was basically came in struggling, and maybe by mid-year, they were still struggling. They were still struggling. This is the group that I would do an exiting strategy with. This is the group I will do an exiting strategy with. Now, in the meantime, hopefully, if the students were not listed under special ed or were getting additional resources, they may have been able to move up to that second group. But if you still have some students that are in that last group that need some extra tender loving care, what I would do going into the last part of the year, and if you have not did it yet, you still have some time to do it because it's a quick note. We're talking about a quick note, and connecting with these particular parents, because what you want to do is you want to prepare these parents for when this student goes into the next grade. So, cause most likely what educators are not suggesting now is that we keep any children back, but we basically are moving children along and just basically helping them with the resources and skills that they need as they go from grade to grade. They think this is better as a social emotional push for them, and they really just not keeping children behind anymore. So they're moving along and just giving them the additional resources that they need in order to accomplish in the next grade. So if you had the opportunity, if there's any parents that you can possibly set up an appointment with these last students, and then if your last group is still pretty large, I would probably select those students that are very, very having a more difficult time than the others. More difficult time, especially in the areas of reading and math. They're having a more difficult time. And then if they have not been given slated as special ed or given an IEP, or they don't have any additional resources. This is the child and the parent and the family that you want to sit down with the mother and father and talk to and suggest that this child going into the next grade is most likely going to continue to have some issues or some problems. They're going to continue to have some issues and problems. And if there had been some okay, writing this. In other words, if you've been keeping notes on this particular child as to what this child might need, you want to add those particular notes into his folder. You want to be able to tap into the counselors again and see if anything is going to be done with this particular child, for the next grade. But more than anything else, you want the parents to be aware that this particular child may need some additional help on top of additional help. Okay. Um, if the child has not been slated to go to summer school, that might be something that the parent can easily look into to see if there's some kind of summer school tutoring or summer school special programs that the child can go into for a few weeks. I'm at the point that drilling a child for 4 weeks, you got 2 months off, and drilling a child for 4 weeks and 4 weeks is not necessarily healthy. Not necessarily healthy. After a while, the child starts having resentments that they have to go to summer school and they're in a classroom, so many days a week when so many hours a day when everybody is out playing and whatever. But even if the parent you can suggest a program for the parent that will basically give this child maybe about 2 to 3 weeks out of the summer to get some additional help. That's better than nothing at all. That's better than nothing at all. See what particular schools in the area might be having a summer program. But the more than anything else, if you have the opportunity to talk to the parent before the school year ends, set up an appointment. I mean, it's worth it staying a couple, about a half an hour to 30 minutes afterwards. It's worth doing a phone call. It's worth, and of course, now you have the communication of emails. It's worth doing an email. But letting this parent know that this child is still struggling and is more probably going to have more issues once they get into the next grade is very, 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 very important. Very, very, very important. I believe that students, when they need your help, they really need your help. And it's not only that you give them help while they're in your classroom, but you provide additional resources once they have left your classroom. You have developed a bond and a relationship with these students, and you want to continue to give them the ongoing support that you gave them in the classroom. Now, sometimes that next classroom teacher may not be able to give them all, but even sometimes I have found myself setting up appointments to work with children that I had the last year. I did it. And it would be either in an after school program, or it would be where if I had a prep period and everything, and I would come by and just check on that particular child. How is Johnny doing? How is Mary doing? In your class. Well, Miss Davis, they seem to still be having problems and issues in there. I said, well, you know what? I have a few hours. Let's set something up where I most likely, if you don't have anything in place right now, I can easily work with them after school. I have done that. I have done that. And I found that because I had developed such a strong relationship with the children, I wanted to see them to continue to succeed. I want to see success in their lives. I wanted to see success in their lives. And sometimes, if I was the one that had to provide that success, then so be it. I didn't have a problem with that. So what I'm saying is, after all of this, is that there should be, if you may find within your classroom that there needs to be some exiting communications with your parents, with certain students in your classroom. And then do not forget also having an introduction to, or presenting yourself or presenting this particular child to the next teacher that they're going to, because they need to know also where this child is and what this child is struggling with, and how they can continue to build on this particular student in order to give them the success that they need. And I find this to be very, very helpful from kindergarten all the way to eighth grade. And then you're talking about your high school students. They need this support also. And that's why we're there. That's why we're there. We're not just there to deliver a product of education, but at the same time, not nurture the children and help them in the skills that and resources, and give them the necessary resources they need in order to be successful in education. Because that's what we want. We want success stories. We want success stories, and it basically means success by any means necessary. By any means necessary. So I followed some of my students all the way to eighth grade, okay, looking and seeing what they were doing, what they were having issues with. And the relationship just kept building and building. And I found it to be very, very, I enjoyed it. And then I found out that they enjoyed it also. So that's just Aurelia Davis coming to you. Feel free. I'm still taking orders for the STEM preschool STEM cards. Like for you to go over to my website, aureliadavis.com, see some of the offerings that I have. And teachers, feel free during the summer months. I still will be available to help you with some skills and everything. You want to be doubly and realistically prepared for the next coming school year. I know this particular school year was like a test year because we're sort of a year back into the pandemic, but things are going to start settling down a whole lot more coming into the next school year. Things would have settled down to the point where you can really see exactly what you're going to be tapping into and the students you're going to be working with. So feel free to go over to my website, aureliadavis.com, see what offerings I do have available. Still taking orders for the STEM preschool STEM cards. Still taking, lesson plan orders might not be something you want to deal with now, but in the meantime, there's some other things that I can offer you. Just go over to the website and see what I have to offer. This is Aurelia Davis. I hope to see you before the week is over. Again, this is Aurelia Davis, and just coming to you. Educators, we love you much. Take care, and hopefully you've had a great year. Take care.